Alrighty, hope everybody's doing good. We are here with another edition of KC Music Talk. My guest today is a bass player and teacher here in Kansas City, Heather Newman. How you doing?
Hi, doing great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming. You and I don't know each other that well. We've only talked a couple of times, but I've seen you play at the jams, up at Bill's Jam a couple times,
Yeah.
Cowdy Bill, yeah. And I've definitely been impressed by your singing specifically and bass playing as well, but you're definitely getting up there and just tearing it up and doing your thing, and that's pretty awesome. I know a lot of people have seen you at the jams and maybe come out to your shows and stuff, but probably a lot of people don't know how you got started playing or any of your history of how'd you get started playing or whatever.
Yeah, I'm from Omaha, Nebraska, and they have a youth program up there with the Blues Society. It's called the Blues Ed program. So they get kids together who play instruments, and they put them in bands, and they have the national and international blues musicians that come through and tour there, do workshops and clinics with the kids. So we get firsthand experience from the people who are in the music business, and specialty workshops, things like that, catered to the guitar players, the vocalists, the keyboard players, the horn sections, things like that. So I got a really good professional start at about 10 years old.
Yeah.
So that I was in the program for a few years, and that's really kind of where it happened. I sang a lot at that point. When I quit the program, that's when I started to teach myself how to play guitar. So I've been playing guitar for about 10 years now, and then was able to make the transition from Omaha to KC and start playing music full time. Then I picked up the bass about 2 years ago. So.
Yeah, that's cool. So it sounds like you started with blues stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. When in our house growing up, we always had classic rock, blues, just all the great music of
sure.
The past. And so we always had really good influences, and being exposed to live music from such a young age. I'm sure my mom and folks at our church had stuff to say behind our backs about this lady that was taking her 10-year-old to the bars to go see blues bands, but I think it was great.
Yeah.
So.
My buddy said, he's like, my son's been in more bars than churches. I was just like,
yep.
Yeah. That was kind of funny, but and it sounds like that, because I don't know exactly the program that you did, but that sounds like that was lessons and then sort of like master classes, right? I mean, it sounds like it was kind of lessons and master classes, sort of.
A lot of it was just master classes, and then there was opportunities for the bands to open up at festivals like the Playing with Fire Festival. That was my first time actually on stage at 10 years old, was in front of 1,500 people in Omaha. This tiny little blonde girl on stage just sitting there like, I need more in my monitor. More monitor. So
how was that? I mean, were you nervous? Probably?
Yeah, I was. You always. So sometimes I still get little flutters, but as soon as I step on the stage, it's just like, hi, Mom.
You're right.
It's that nice sigh of relief comes, and it's my outlet. So it's never something I'm actually nervous about doing. So
it feels home now.
Oh,
yeah, that's good. And that, I think, you're obviously hitting on it, that goes away.
Yeah.
The stage fright kind of stuff will go away the more you do it.
Oh yeah. And sometimes it's just depending on what's going on. We performed at the Blues Blast Music Awards, and we did a little 15 or 20 minute set, and then they announced the categories that we were nominated in right after that. So that one was a little nerve-wracking because mainly if we had been able to play earlier, the set wouldn't have been, what I was nervous at. It was having to play and then having to wait there. Oh my gosh, did we win?
Sure.
Did we win? So, there's...
That's funny.
It always just kind of depends on what's actually going on, and maybe there might be somebody in the crowd that I'm like, oh, I really hope they enjoy us,
Sure.
So, just kind of depends, but...
Well, speaking of festivals, it sounds like you got to play at IBC this year, which is pretty exciting.
Yep, we were supposed to represent Kansas City, but we ended up getting nominated for a Blues Music Award, and which made us ineligible to actually compete in the Blues Challenge, which was okay because IBC is considered an amateur competition, an amateur blues competition, and the one thing that qualifies you to be able to compete is never having been nominated for that particular award, which is what sets you apart from amateur and professional.
Sure.
So we got to snag the label of professional beforehand, which, I will definitely take that.
Sure.
Definitely.
Right, yeah, you got, you're a badass, right? And so we can't let you perform. You're like, all right.
Yeah, okay, I'm still
get your
gonna go
name
down
on whatever pamphlets and whatever other things. I'm sure a bunch of signs were down there and stuff, I mean, get your name out there.
Yeah, we did all that, all the networking, and sat in at all of the jams that we could, and participated in the showcases. So we got a lot of really great networking opportunities down there, which hopefully will potentially get us to cross the pond a little bit later on this year, and some other really exciting things too. So
that sounds cool. I've never been down to IBC. I hear it's something else. I mean, there's a lot of bands, and
it really is. Honestly, it was too much. It was too much blues for me, because we went down there. We got there on Tuesday, and we didn't leave until Sunday. So it was up straight 5 days from noon until midnight on Beale Street with blues. But it wasn't like you go to a lot of the blues festivals now and there's a variety of blues. There's the funky blues people, there's the contemporary blues, there's the traditional blues. This was just all traditional. All the same kind of licks and solos, and it was just like I felt like I was in a hazy daydream and that I just wouldn't wake up from. But it was really awesome, and I met so many awesome people, and there were some really amazing bands down there that did set themselves apart from the norm that was down there. But the traditional blues is what they were looking for, what the IBC is all about. So those bands didn't go on, but they put on a hell of a show, and they did exactly what they went there to do, which was to network and to make friends and to expand the business.
Right.
So,
But all the judges are looking for that, but what is the crowd looking for?
The crowd.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, they set themselves even though they don't win the thing, and they get up there and they just shred the crap out of it, and now all the crowd's like, these guys are pretty good, yada yada,
Yeah. Oh yeah. There was quite a lot of that. There's a band, Justin Saladino band from Canada. It's young guys. They're in their early 20s. I've actually known Justin since we were about 12 or 13 years old. They came down, their youth band came down to Omaha, and they did a youth band swap with my brother's Blues Ed band. And so they came down to Omaha and they played our festival, and then the Side Effects went up to Quebec and played a festival up there. And so I've known Justin since then. He was in the band that came down, and so I was really excited to see that they were also competing. And they're not blues. They're not blues. They're soul. They're kind of they even have some honky tonk type songs, but they are so fantastic and so smooth and soulful that the crowds went crazy for their band. But the judges they made it to the semifinals, but judges just weren't having it. They're like, that's
no
not
love, no
yeah.
love.
Yeah.
What's going on here? So that's interesting. So since we're kind of still talking about kind of your earlier days or whatever before, was there something that was kind of tricky for you when you as you were starting to get going in your music career? Was there something that was hard for you or easy, or you can kind of answer that however you want?
Yeah, singing always kind of came easy, but harmonies. I was not the best at harmonies. It took me a really long time to be able to focus my ear and get that. But because I was so dedicated to succeeding with my harmonies, that now I'm to the point where majority of the time I can just start singing a song. I don't need any starting note, and I'll be on key. So I don't have perfect pitch. I can't can't play a note and I'd be like, oh, that is a C sharp, oh, that's a D.
Probably have kind of a relative pitch type of thing.
Yeah, I can be like, well, I can't tell, I might not know exactly what key the song's in, but I can sing it for you, and if you give me a guitar, I'll tell you, I can find the note, and I'll be like, okay, there's a B, it's in B. So I can do that kind of stuff and now.
Yeah.
But that was probably the hardest thing for me. And then, of course, when I picked up the guitar, then learning how to focus on the two things, playing and singing at the same time, strumming. And I never really connected with the guitar anyways. I honestly don't really like playing guitar. I've played it for a long time, and I played it in Nick Schneblin's band. I was his rhythm guitar player. Hated it.
Yeah.
And... but I learned it because I had to. I didn't want to have to rely on other people to provide me my music. I wanted to be able to go out. I've always been that kind of driven person where if I want to do something, damn it, I'll find a way to do it.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
You gotta have that.
Yeah, you really do. Yeah. You really do. So.
Do you have any sense of why the background vocals were hard?
No.
Yeah.
No. Because I was always really good with matching pitches. Matching pitches and tone qualities. I can imitate a lot of different kinds of singers and their various
gesture,
tones. Yeah. But it was just hearing that a chord wasn't just one note. It was multiple notes that you put together.
Sure.
Yeah. And that was what I was having a hard time with, was figuring out where the steps were, feeling in my throat that, when you're looking at a piano, there's like a whole step. It's a whole step and then another whole step. Right. And feeling where the whole steps were vocally instead of just like being able to pluck it out on a piano or on an instrument. It's an entirely different beast trying to conquer vocal things.
Yeah. And I would think a lot of people too, especially when you're singing something that you've heard a million times, and you blast out the melody because it's so good, and then you're trying to come up with a different harmony part. And I know for me, because I have such a low voice, I'm usually going down the fifth or whatever, and then somebody else, female vocalist or another, higher male is going up the third, and so I'm always going down, but sometimes I end up going down to the third, and I'm just... or down to the first because the vocal's not really on the one. Yeah. The vocal's on in the third, and I'm actually singing one, and the other person's singing five, Yeah. And so, I had trouble with that at first, and once I do for myself, once I do my parts a lot, then it's on lockdown, but at the beginning, and this especially happens because me and my buddy, he'll sing the melody, and then I'm picking some part, and that's all we've had for a while. Then when somebody else comes in and actually can really sing, back up, and they're going to do the real upper third, we're realizing we're unising each other, because I'm going down third, and so it gets all jacked up, because I'm not singing actual harmony parts. I'm making up my own monstrosity, and it sounds good, but... I don't know. Yeah, background vocals. Do you have a lot of fun singing background vocals?
I love it.
Yeah,
I do love it. Yeah, because when I'm singing my music, I'm singing my tone and my sound. Yeah. But I really do enjoy singing live and matching other people's tone of voice and having that kind of cohesiveness come together. Yeah. Because you can do it with recorded things and on the radio and whatever. But there's nothing like the live energy. I'm all about the live performances, and I don't get to do that very often. Most of the time, somebody else is harmonizing with me. Yeah, sure. With what I'm doing. Yeah. So, but in that instance, then I have to take myself back and not be as free and expressive with my own material, because I go all over the place. And especially when somebody's trying to add a harmony, sometimes. The first time around, if I do a chorus 3 times in a song, I never do it exactly the same way twice, So if somebody's trying to add harmonies to it, and then I change it the second time around, and then I change it the third time around, they're like, "What the hell are you doing, Heather?" Yeah. So I have to I have to bring myself back, because that was a big thing when I was younger, singing the blues. Everything sounds the same. It all sounds the same. It's just different words. Same exact melody. you know, for every single line.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, that is boring. This is easy music. It shouldn't be boring.
Mm.
Easy music is the hardest to play.
Mm. Talk about that. Talk about that, because it's different, you know, because there's some classical stuff that is just insane. You got to pay 30 years to even try it, you know. But I think when you get to that certain point, some of the country and stuff, these guys just, they can't handle it.
Yeah.
You know, the boom chuck, and you got to just stay there, right?
Yeah.
And you got to make your brain stay there.
Yeah.
And they can't. I'm gonna kill somebody, you know, like, or bass, you know, he's sitting there and.
Oh man, I cannot stand playing country bass. Boom, 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 boom,
yeah.
Boom, boom. My guitar player, he plays country, and we play shows under his name as well with the same band members, but we do his material. And that's
kind of fun.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah. So it's a nice change up. Then I also get to step back from being the band leader.
Yeah.
I also get to step back from being the vocalist, and I just
get
to
do
focus.
Your background vocal. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I just get to focus on the instrument, which I don't normally get to do. Normally, I'm having to do two things, which you know, has really tremendously helped my singing and playing. But as far as just my bass playing, I don't get to expand on the things that I hear in my head because I'm focusing on everything else.
Yeah, sure.
But oh crap!
Yeah, I know.
I was going off on a whole bunch of different bunny trails from where we started out.
Yeah, but that, well, so with your band, how has that been sort of being the band leader? Now, has there been anything that's been tough or really fun or good or like?
Yeah, you know, it's all been really interesting. You know, I wasn't usually the one. I have always been like an assertive presence. People never, you know, tried to fuck around with me or anything like that or take advantage of me when I was in school. Nobody bullied anybody in front of me because I called people out on their stuff, but. I'm not the kind of person who really wants to be the one that says, all right, everybody, let's go here and let's do this now. And then you're doing this wrong. You need to do blah, blah.
Dictator,
you know, and that just was not me. You know, and especially with this band, I didn't really know any of my band members. You know, we kind of came together. We're like, hey, would you like want to do this? And so it was learning people's personalities as well as trying to find a good way to be in control, but not be rude or demanding, and to be inclusive and to be open with ideas. But it was a really difficult transition because I was playing with Nick beforehand, and it was his band. I didn't have to do anything.
Yeah.
You know, I did social media, website stuff, promotion, and the design stuff. But as far as what we did, where we went, who we spoke to, you know, like that was on him.
He was handling it.
Yeah, that was all on him. So it was really weird to come into a group of people that I didn't know and to say, here's a song I wrote. Here's a little piece of my heart. I really hope you enjoy it, and I hope you don't like just destroy me because you don't like it, or you know, something like that. So
yeah, sure.
It was songwriting for me at the time was a really personal thing, and I had a really hard time opening up enough and letting myself be vulnerable to share it with people, you know. And I'm still like that when I'm in the middle of a song. I don't let anybody hear it until it's like, you know, at a certain point.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think that's hard, and that's the reason why some people are not musicians. What you just hit on, because they can't. And this is another thing about like going and trying to book shows, and how, you know, we get, you know, 7 no's and 3 yeses, or worse, you know, worse,
or just not even any responses,
or not any response, and they can't handle. They don't want to. That vulnerability you talked about is something people just they can't handle it.
It's really hard. It's really hard to do, because you're out in the open and for everybody to see, and that's not an easy thing for anybody to do. It's not an easy thing for me to do, but I still do it because this is what I want to do. I want to make this work, and I'm driven to do it right and to do it well, and to do myself justice and to make myself proud of what I'm doing, because as you know, and as every other musician knows, we are biggest critics.
Yeah.
We are our own worst critics.
Sometimes they're not.
Yeah, sometimes, you know. Oh, man.
Perfect. No, but that's interesting, the vulnerability thing, because you're like, we're putting ourselves vulnerable to the for owners to tell us we're crap or whatever. We're putting ourselves vulnerable to the random public at the shows, and we're putting vulnerable to our bandmates,
yeah.
other musicians.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot of vulnerability, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
for sure.
Yeah, that's fascinating to me about who can handle that and who can't. You know, another example is what we're doing right here. Mm-hmm. Going on an interview show and saying what you feel. That's another, element that some people just can't even handle. They can get up there behind their little drums and, and then they hide and then, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, that's interesting. So with and then like you were saying earlier too about dealing with all the personalities of each band.
Oh, yeah.
And my problem is I want to know their personality before I like try them out with whatever I'm gonna say. I want to know how they're gonna react before I say it, and that's not how it works.
Yeah.
I'm annoyed, like how have you handled like the personality thing, especially with the dictator democracy kind of, you know what I'm saying? How have you handled that?
I got really lucky with the guys that I found because they're extremely easygoing. They're open to everything we do. I'm open to their suggestions. But it was kind of difficult because I didn't know these guys. I'm the only girl. I was the youngest one as well. So as usual, that's nothing new for me. I'm usually the youngest one. But it was really difficult, honestly. But they made it really easy for me. They made it really easy. They're all really, really fun and outgoing guys too. One of the members, he was a little bit more withdrawn and everything, so it was that was the hardest part, was trying to communicate to him in such a way where if there was something that he wasn't doing well enough or that I didn't like particularly or that I wanted him to change up, I had to be very, very careful with how I actually approached it. Because there would be times when like I would fuck up and me and Keith, the guitar player, would laugh about it, and he would think that we were laughing at him, and that like it was a very delicate kind of balance as far as that was concerned, and that was really difficult because I couldn't express myself the way I needed to get the music to come across how I wanted, because I was busy stepping on eggshells when I shouldn't have needed to, because every person who has worked with me, even when something doesn't go well or if I'm frustrated, there's never any yelling, there's never any why the fuck can't you just do this right, nothing ever like that, because I mess up. I probably mess up the most out of all of my band members, so like how can I sit there and dog on somebody else when I'm not doing this shit perfect either,
That's a good attitude to have. A lot of people don't have that, this.
Yeah.
So I guess the solution there, when you have that guy that's all quiet and you don't really know exactly what he's thinking, so that the solution there is to, you screw up, then you start laughing, and then you say, man, I blew that one, or what, that one's, man, I screwed that up, whatever, is that the solution, right? You kind of verbally say to everybody,
I fucked up.
Yeah. That was me.
That was me. Forgot what key we were in. Sorry, guys.
So they're really clear that it's not them, it's me.
I tried to make it that way, but the relationship that I have with the other members, we rag on each other all the time. Like it's what your friends do, it's what your band members do, and like it's always in good fun. It's never, there's never any real like stabs or anything like that. Nothing like that. It's always really good. and it's just funny. You know, we just make fun of each other all the time because we're all a bunch of big goofball, weird musicians that do weird shit all the time.
Yeah.
You know, so.
This guy said something interesting. There was a bunch of NBA players talking, and they were talking about the locker room, and they were talking about how, you know, everybody just, they get on this guy for his stupid haircut, and then they get on that guy for his dumb shoes he bought the other day, and then this guy's brother who did something stupid. I mean, and everybody finds something that they did, and they rag on him. And I think other people look at that and they go, how mean you guys are being. And they're like, yeah, but you got to see it from this perspective. Everybody gets you for something, you know, and then you get them back and they get, and it's just what we do. It's like, you know, I think especially guys are like this, but it's like, that's what it is. I mean, you're ragging on this guy so hard, but he just got me for my haircut the other day, or the balding, or whatever, you know,
and
some
most of the
thing.
time, every time we get together, there's at least 5 or 6 to 10 things that we found that day, new things that we found that day to just like poke at each other at. And every single time it happens, I mean, we're all laughing. It's never like we're like laughing and he's like, come on, you guys, like, really? Like, that's enough. It's never like that. We're always all just having a blast.
You missed the words this time, but this guy missed the ending the other time. You know, it's just, right? You know,
Oh, yeah. For sure.
So like, that's something kind of interesting that I think we're sort of hitting on earlier, is that in the music business, especially here in town, there's a lot of guys playing, you know, and you'll have people, you know, Samantha is a good example, Danielle, you know, there's a handful of people that have had a lot of success as, you know, female players that are, I would argue, definitely not just up there doing a kind of singer-songwriter, and I'm this, you know, pretty chick and I sing, yada yada, but you had Samantha up there and she can like play, really play, you know, and you're the same, and like, and so how has your experience been, you know, as a female running the band or female in the music business? Is there,
you know, to my face so far, it's been great. To my face, it's been great. I've had people come up to my band members, and say, not things about me or about me being a woman, but they'll just say things that they just shouldn't go up to a band that just got done playing and say, and they'll purposefully say it to them because I'm not there. So it was like, one of them was, it was a festival promoter, and it was about, I had reached out to him to book us, and he was like, oh yeah, well, we're going to be at your show in Topeka for New Year's Eve, so we'll check you guys out then, and we'll talk after. So, okay, cool. So came out to our show. We chit-chatted before our set a little bit. He's like, okay, well, I'm really excited to hear you and everything, and we played our set. We did my originals, which are blues songs, you know. From my first album, they're pretty traditional blues songs. There's a little variance here and there, but so we played the set, and I was like kind of waiting to talk to him again, you know, to see like what he thought. Didn't see where he went, so I, you know, just went back with the guys, and they're like, yeah, that guy, that festival dude, yeah, you know, he came up to us and was like, so you guys actually play blues, right? Because if I brought that to my festival, I'd have my balls handed to me. Like, you guys actually play blues, right? And Keith was like, yeah, I mean, if you want us to play a set of 12-bar shuffles, we can do that for you. And he's like, that's what you need to do. We'll talk later. And walked away. And he didn't say shit to me. And so I was like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
What the? Who are you?
Yeah.
How dare you?
Yeah.
Like, what? Seriously? It's like, if you're going to say that to anybody, you say that to my fucking face.
Yeah.
You know? Like, this is my band.
Right.
It's the Heather Newman band. I'm the one who emailed you. You don't go up to my band members who don't know that I emailed you, potentially, and say that to them. You say that to me, who you were dealing with the booking. Say, do you have a different sound in your set? Can you provide something different? Don't come up and say, I'd have my balls handed to me if I brought that. No.
Yeah.
That's the wrong thing.
Okay, so I get it. So you're wondering if
I had
the woman thing was the reason why he didn't come up to you. Is that kind of what you're saying? Yeah,
yes,
okay.
and if I had been a man, he probably wouldn't have said any of it about anything because after we won the 2 Blues Blast Music Awards, we ended up playing another show in Topeka, and this was before this festival. He did confirm us, but he undercut me by about $500. And that was as a woman. I have a booking representative with a Daidi artist who's been helping me book shows now. Since doing that, I've seen a huge change in the way people talk about me via email. When I'm emailing for myself, I have to fight to prove my worth. When someone else is emailing me, or even sending out emails, not even receiving the emails about booking me, but sending out emails for booking, the venues, feel the need to sell their time for the Heather Newman Band. It's like it flipped the page totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. Wow.
I'm no longer being undercut. They're giving me more money than what we asked for. And I was like, how the hell does that work?
Right.
But so we did that. So we played the show in Topeka. He saw us again. We didn't even have our guitar player. We played it as a trio, bass, keys, and drums. And we played like Stevie Ray Vaughan and like stupid things we shouldn't have played without a guitar player, but we did anyways. So I get an email from him afterwards, and he apologized and said, "Your original stuff is great. I think you should bring that to the festival." And I was like, okay. See, if I had first of all been a man, my music probably wouldn't have been a problem for the festival. It was only because I was a woman and because I had reached out and he said he was already interested, and I don't know, whatever that made.
Yeah.
But he not only did that and was extremely rude to my band, but then saw our huge success within the blues community.
And then now he's on board.
And now he's like, but now I want you to come play it because you're going to draw people.
Yeah.
And
what are you doing for me lately? Yeah. Yeah, and that, so yeah, that's the thing that's interesting to me is that thing of, I didn't know what you guys were really, and then now that you're having success and now I'm on board, I would argue that's everybody. You know, I mean, that's an everybody thing of you guys aren't doing anything and now you're so big. Oh, I was always on, but no, you weren't.
Yeah.
You know, so that I don't, you know, so I would make an argument that specific thing is not, you know, woman or man. That's just his perception was bad and then it changed or whatever. But I wonder if, like, I'm really fascinated by the why he didn't come up to you thing. That's the thing that I think is really interesting. About it.
Yeah, is that I think
an intimidation or something.
I think
you know,
that's
what's the psychological thing happening. Exactly. That's the interesting thing to me.
I was trying to figure it out because I think if he had come up to say that to me, first of all, I think he knew that would not have been a smart thing for him to come up and say to my face.
Right.
To be honest, how he said it to my band, that was not a smart thing to do. Period. He could have gone up to them and asked, like, so do you guys play any other, like, do you have any kind of other genres that you play too? Do you do more traditional blues or anything like that?
He could have come up with a totally different tone.
Yeah.
Of how to say
or
that,
just like, I don't think that sound fits very well with our festival.
It's
not,
I'd have my balls handed to me
if I brought that to the festival. Yeah. Because he's saying that, and what he's saying to them is he's looking at me, the object.
Oh, he's saying that.
I'd get my balls handed to me if I brought that to the festival.
Yeah, what does that mean? You know, I mean, you could go all day on.
You go all day. Like, you never know exactly, you know. Yeah. But I wonder if he felt safer because the band, you know, they're men, first of all. Second of all, it's not their band. They just play for me. So why would they feel the need to step up and be the leader, you know, and to be confident and, you know, demanding and with their presence, because that's not their job. That's my job. I talk to the people. I take care of the things. You know, I schedule everything.
So he's saying that they would be able to take it, like whatever the aggressiveness because. So his argument, you're guessing, is that he thinks that they don't stand up to you, so he can just come and tell them whatever, and they're not going to stand up to him either. Is that kind of what you're meaning, or like
maybe, or that that they're just not going to say anything or get mad about it. Because they're like, what the fuck? And they're not going to respond in a way without checking with me first to see if this is going to be damaging. Like, did you already talk to this guy? Like, what's the situation? You know, it was like they just kind of got like, he just popped in and said that and then left. And they were like, what? Yeah. You know? And yeah, I think because I don't know how I'm sure I intimidated him, to be honest. Yeah. Because I am so young and I do have a lot of confidence and I exude myself. Yeah. You know, I know who I am, and I feel like maybe the way I had approached him in the first place, he was like, he just didn't think it was a good idea to say it to me. Yeah. Or that I would take it wrong or something.
So that's another thing that
he was afraid that I would be a bitch. You know?
Yeah. I mean, because that's another thing we've talked about on the show is like, how do you come at those guys? The club owners, the booking guys. How do you come at them with, for example, my buddy that I have comes at him with jokes. That's just his thing. He's a comedian almost. And so everybody loves him. I mean, he has four top of ladies rolling in 2 minutes, you know. I mean, he's just funny and like, but he comes at him with jokes, get to know him a little bit, and then, you know, at the end of the conversation, hey, I have a band, yada yada, and then there's other people that come up, when do you want us, you know, and they come up just strong and hard, and I don't think there's you can't fake it, you know. I mean, you got to be what you are, and I don't know if there is a best way, but he has the problem of kind of backing down a little bit because he's trying to get to know them, and then they can, we can only give you, and he's like, okay, fine, you know, and he just, you know, falls into the corner because he doesn't like confrontation. Yeah. But that's my opinion. But anyway, like, so, yeah, it's hard to know. Like you just said, if I, you know, would that have mattered had I not come at him like that? If I hadn't, would he have even dealt with me? If I didn't come with that confidence, did I come with too much? You know, it's impossible to say, right? You never know.
Because every person that you're dealing with is going to be different. Yeah. You know, they might view confidence as, wow, that's awesome, or wow, she's super stuck up.
Right.
You know? So, like, it really just kind of depends. And, of course, if you're doing it over, you know, email or text, hard, you know, you don't get the tone of voice, you don't get the personality traits that come through your voice and everything, so it's a lot harder to actually understand what and how they're trying to say things, you know. So, it's been really weird trying to initially book myself and talk about money. Talk about my monetarily.
Yeah, right.
You know, monetary worth. Yeah. So,
money's hard for everybody.
Yeah. I just didn't know how much to ask for, you know, and you never know because some clubs want you, but they can only pay $250 and they want a whole band for 4 hours. No, sorry. Yeah. I have to at least, you know, do $100 per person. You know, we got to live and eat and pay bills. So, you know, there's always that, but the money thing was my biggest problem. I think I did back down quickly too much because I wanted to make sure that we got booked. Right. I was more. At the time, I was more interested in actually getting out and having people see us and building the fan base than particularly making money. Sure. You know? Yeah. And now it's to the point where, you know, we've been in the game long enough and we've been through it, and I'm like,
well, you're starting to get a baseline now, right? I mean, from the more gigs you can, go that, you know, 200 is not happening anymore. No, I'm not going to take that.
Yeah,
you know,
we don't do anything like that. And with the award wins and the BMA nomination.
Yeah, that helps a lot. You know?
The price has gone up. The fee has gone up now.
I'm sure your agent, you know, helps a ton with that crowd too.
Yes.
You know,
I love it.
Your whatever you called them.
A Diny artist. Yeah, it's like a group of independent artist community, essentially. People who do marketing, social media promotion, design, as well as booking, like t-shirt stuff, like kind of everything. But it's more so a community of these independent artists. So we're still working. All of these artists are still working their independent thing, but they have a business name and a community of other artists who have the exact same goal in mind, that we can all help each other out. Because a lot of musicians are artists in other crafts as well, you know, and a lot of them like to do that and to help each other out. So if we have this one platform where we all say, okay, well, I also do website design and this, and this person says, well, I do this and this. And they're like, well, okay, well, if I need that, would I be able to contact you? And like, maybe we can set a deal up or something. So it's like, I'm trying to, me and the Deity Artists team, we're trying to build a more cohesive network. And it's mainly, it's not just for women, but it's mainly for these independent women who are doing everything and kicking ass on their own, so that we can all kick ass on our own, but then we can come together and we can dominate. We can just take over the world, you know?
That's cool.
So that's, I'm trying to spark up more of that female revolution shit in the music industry and all that. So, but yeah, they help out with that tremendously, and I don't have to talk about money anymore with people. It's great. I just get the contracts and sign it and send it out. It's the best.
Yeah, that's cool. So switching gears a little bit, so tell me a little bit about your teaching that you've been doing.
Yeah, so I teach guitar, bass, ukulele, and vocal lessons. So, and I teach at a guitar center, so teaching so many different instruments, I usually just end up picking up, you know, one of the nice guitars or bass that I don't normally get to play. And,
that's fun.
You know, so that's always nice, get to try out new gear. But no, it's a blast. I really, really enjoy it. Almost every single one of my students is dedicated to what they're doing and what they're trying to learn. So it makes my job really easy. And plus, I just love being able to share music and see those aha moments. You know, when you first start out in music and the theory is just like mind-bogglingly crazy and chaotic, and then as soon as that just, oh, that's what that means. Okay, I get it.
That's why you do it,
it's
right?
The best feeling. It is the
have
best
that moment,
Yeah.
That's cool.
Awesome.
What's your ages? I mean, it's probably what, 10 to 18-ish, or I mean,
all over.
All
I
over,
do. Yeah, I've got my oldest student that I taught was, I think, like 67.
Yeah.
You know, just something new to
That's cool.
keep busy with, you know. And I think my youngest was like 4 or 5. So those are a little bit harder to teach.
They're pretty young. It's a different ball game with the really young kids, isn't it?
I don't do that very well.
Yeah, I don't either.
I'll hang out with the kids all day, but don't try to like have me teach them something because like I get frustrated too much. Like they're too like, I wanna. Who's that? It's like, that's you, Johnny. That's your reflection in the mirror. But you know, like stuff like that. So I was like, I'd rather, you know, if I'm around kids that age, I'm like, just play. Come ask me all the random questions, but not when I need to tell you, and you need to focus on me, and you need to put your finger. No, Johnny, stop asking me about my nose piercing, okay, hon? Let's put your finger there. You know, can't do that.
Yeah, that's funny.
It's just too much.
Yeah, the really young, for me, under 10 is tough. I'm really, really good with the 10, and of course adults and you know, 20s or you know, high school kids with the 10 and up. I do really well with. I think, but like so. I've noticed a lot talking to a lot of guitar type instructors that it's been really interesting because I'm always dealing with strings kids, you know, like violin kids that are all in orchestra at school.
Yeah.
And so it's like a totally different deal than the guitar, you know, lesson type, because it sounds like you're right in that area. Because with us, our kids like never get to pick their own music. We always pick their music, always, you know, and one of the reasons is because we don't have a tradition of pop music at all, but guitars do, bass does, drums do, you know, and so they're always, you know, they're going, I want to play Frozen, I want to play Taylor Swift, I want to do Smoke on the Water, I want to do Sweet Home Alabama. You know, they have these things that they want to play, but and so for us, it's never hard to deal with the technique problem and then the stuff you want to play problem. You know, it's like we always have to push them over to this is actually fun.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we're so good at, you know, in string. I mean, it's just with strings. I mean, you have to deal with technique.
Oh yeah.
You just can't. Like with violin, it's the hardest crap in the history of the world. I mean, you have to do it, and everybody gets it. Even the kids, yeah, this crap is really hard. I do actually need to practice, you know. Yeah. But I found, have you found that a lot of the kids are, you have to kind of pull them along with the technique a little bit, and they always want to do fun stuff, or how have you dealt with that?
You know, it really just depends on my student. I have one student, my favorite student, not naming any names, no names, but she's my favorite. She comes in, I've been teaching her for 6 months now. The 28th of this month is going to be the 6-month mark. The first song she picked, I don't remember what it was. It's a pretty simple song. It was plucking, like boom ding, boom ding, boom ding kind of thing. And she did that really well. She started singing and playing. And she had not picked up the guitar at all before she saw me 6 months ago. So we picked out this song. We worked on the getting the guitar part all ready, and then we started bringing in the vocals. She did amazing. We had her first recital 3 months into that. And then her second song that she chose was More Than Words by Extreme. And that song is not an easy song to play. And I told her that, and I showed her how many chords were involved in this song and what it was going to take. And I was like, are you still wanting to do this song? I was like, I think she could do it. That's what I told her. I was like, I think you can do it. It's going to take a little bit longer. It's going to be harder, but I think you can do it. And she's like, I want to do it. So here we are. We started doing that. We started that song at the beginning of January. We're almost at the end of February now. And this little girl, she's like 12 or 13 maybe. This girl, she's already playing the entire verse. And I just had her yesterday for my lesson, and I hadn't seen her for 2 weeks because we had the ice storm and they canceled. They didn't want to drive out. But so I hadn't seen her for 2 weeks. And when she came in, and I was like, okay, go ahead, play the song, let me hear it. I had to like really stifle my excitement because I didn't want to mess her up. I was like, oh my God, this is so good. And I mean, she just killed it. And I was like, I had been telling her, you need to practice with the metronome. Yeah. And I looked at her, I was like, Christine, oh shoot, I said her name. That's okay. I said, tell me, it's like, tell me honestly, how many times have you actually practiced with the metronome? She's like, once. It's like, that's what I thought. And I was like, and I wanted that honest answer because her timing was so perfect.
Yeah, it was way better. Yeah,
it was perfect. Yeah. I was like, if you start working with the metronome now, it's like you will be so solid in your tempos with everything you do in your guitar playing. I was like, this kid, I was like, within the next 6 months, she's gonna have to find a new guitar teacher because she's gonna be better than me. Like that's how that's how she's going. Yeah. So, but with her. She never has any questions at the end because we always make sure to cover everything. She does an hour with me. She never interrupts me. She never talks during her lesson. She is there and she is soaking up every single word I have to say. I don't ever have to get on her case about practicing. She told me she picks her guitar up every single day for at least 2 hours. Yeah, I was like, dang, girl.
If that's true, that's yeah.
I was like, with her progress, it's definitely true. She doesn't do too many after school activities, so she gets home from school and she's like, I want to play guitar. And with every homework assignment I've given her, she's come back just rocking it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, and then I have one other student who I've only been seeing for about 5 weeks now, done the exact same thing every single lesson. Every time I tell her to do a chord, she looks at me and goes, I don't want to. Yeah. And I'm like, why are you here? Yeah. Why are you well, because I want to play guitar. Obviously you don't, because I'm telling you to play your guitar and you're telling me no. Yeah. So I was like, that is so stressful to me when they are fighting on that.
Yeah.
You know,
so with that, and that's where I'm at right now with there's obviously a cognitive dissonance right there. I mean, they're saying this and then they're doing that, you know, and they're not even close to matching. So something's wrong in their head. I mean, of how they, you know, and so where I'm at, and this kind of is also back to the band problem of, so you have this student who is not, they're not doing what they need to do, and this is not like it's not that they're barely not progressing. They're doing nothing.
They're just not doing anything.
Yeah, and so where I'm sitting is that's when I would obviously want to come to Jesus meeting with the parents, you know, but it's hard because when the parents want them to do it, sometimes the parents, you know, kind of keep pushing them for another month or two, and then they get the hint, and the kid keeps, you know, chirping their ear at home and stuff. But I want to know, like this one guy I talked to, he's like, yeah, I mean, you know, once in a while I kind of got to go through and like clean up my studio. I was like, oh damn, you know, like basically like kick out, you know, these 4 turds basically is what he meant. You know, I have these 40 kids and I have to clean it up, you know, and of the riffraff that don't really want to be here and stuff. And so, but for a lot of us that are still always wanting students, sometimes we're nervous to do that because we need the money, you know, and so we don't want to sit there and kick everybody out that isn't going to do anything, and they hate me and I hate them, and it's, you know, it's just bad, you know. But I want to do something about that. But I've tried to remember that, you know, for somebody like us, we teach and play and write, and this is our entire life. And for you know, people like me, it started 3 years old. You know, I'm not even good enough for the symphony, and I've played my whole life. You know, and these kids, you know, some of these kids are just, I mean, musically playing at IBC, that's never going to happen, you know, for them. I mean, and especially their attitude right now, it's definitely never going to happen. So I'm always wondering, what do I do with them? And it's the thing that a lot of people in the world, I think, don't want to accept, the idea that you can't save everyone. Like, you know, or not save everyone, but everybody is not going to be good at this. Yeah. And they want to, like, they feel like that's giving up, and yeah, it is. You know, I mean, you know, and
but it's also, I think it's also opening yourself up to finding where your true passion is. You know, some kids,
you mean
everybody, so like everybody has a passion for music. It might not be playing it, but it might be dancing to it, or it might be writing it. You might not be able to sing it, but you might be a hell of a songwriter, you know? So it just kind of depends, but music is such a core thing for every single kid that, like, I want to try to find where their music passion lies. Yeah. Do they just want to listen to it? Do they want to go see live music? Do they want to be a part of the back end of it, you know, or that kind of thing? So it's never that, like, I think these kids want to be a, you know, big pop star and, you know, be famous or anything like that, because a lot of my students don't want to do that. But they want to find a way to, with what they are doing, still be happy and still have that thing that they can fall back on for when life just gets too crazy. They have that release, you know, and
that's what it's for them. Yeah. That's not what it's for me. No. You know, I'm a hardcore, we're, you know, deep in this, you know, but for them, that's what, and I have to accept that as a teacher. Yeah, and they're not going to, you know. And for me, I can accept that. The thing that I hate the most is when the kid is really passionate about it, the kid works hard for it, and for some reason, some stupid reason, the parent just says, no, you can't do this anymore. Yeah, that's rough. That's the worst. And sometimes it's happened, and I know it wasn't a money problem. I know it wasn't a money problem, because the kids are in track, and they're in gymnastics, and they're in this, and they're in that, and they're in that, and they're in that, and it's all sport type things that's running this poor little kid ragged to the point where she's like about to have a nervous breakdown, and she wants to do the music, but her parents say no, because you have to do this exercise thing instead, in addition to the 5 other exercise things that we have you doing this month, you know, like, and all honors classes and and all of that stuff. You're preaching to the choir. I've talked about this on the show a ton. The kids that are in 19 activities, and That's what I've tried to talk to some parents about before too, is that like I'm starting to come around to the multiple avenue kind of a thing, and before I was not on that board at all, because I was saying, I mean, if you're going to be in the symphony, you eventually have to make a commitment in your life that you're going to play a lot of music.
Yeah.
Not necessarily that you only do music all day every day, but you're going to have to at some point make a commitment to soccer, and then you end up playing college soccer or music or whatever. And but I can understand the argument of, for all of us making money, what the best argument I've heard against that point, or for the point of put your kids in multiple things, is what happened when the music business dies. And that's a really good argument, is that you have no other skills. That's all I've done my whole entire life, and what else are you going to do? Oh, well, I don't know how to do anything. So that's the only argument that I've heard that makes a lot of sense. But if you're going to get good at something, you got to take some focus at it at some point.
Yeah.
And you can't spread your shitty at 6 things by the time you get to college. That's my opinion. I mean, and I don't know what to, and that's where I'm back to, how do I tell the parents that? Because now I'm verging on life coach, and and
I had a hard time because I wanted to tell the parent of the student that was taken out of music. I was like, you really should take her out of one of these extracurricular activities because she's already extremely fit and healthy. And I was like, but what is that going to do to her when, she's going and 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 can never stop. It's like the music is something for her to sit down and focus and create and have a little bit of therapy, rather than, I need to do this, I need to beat them, I need to win this, I need to, like, it's calming. It's calming. And especially, and I'm not saying that she should take her out of everything, but there was in so many things, and they said it was between this and this thing, but they already had so many things over in this one category. And I was like, expand on her art. Expand on her art. You've already got you got the physical activities down. The mom was like a physical trainer, and then dad was
they're
a
in
police
soccer
officer.
And track.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, do you need any more running?
So much running.
Because music's a different kind of skill.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it's a totally different deal.
It is a physical skill,
right.
but it's more of a physical mental skill.
Yeah, I heard one of my other students, when I had this come to Jesus meeting about that with another student, though, that she said something that I just laugh at every time. She goes, well, I think it'll be okay because, volleyball stops on Tuesday and soccer starts on Thursday. And I'm just like, oh my God. Like, I don't know. They're like, she was just trying to justify it, I'm like, oh, great. So you stop one to just start another. Okay, I get it. I don't know. I was laughing my ass off about that because I don't know. It was just like, we were not, Mother and I were not on the same page at all, like.
No. There was the one student that I do have that has just been giving me so much trouble. I was thankful because I did have a talk with her dad, and after I had a talk with her in the room because she was just fighting, and I was like, I have a really good filter, and I'm very, very patient, and I can deal with a lot, but this little girl almost had me be like, are you fucking serious? Are you fucking serious right now?
You said that to her?
No.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Like, but I almost, and I was like, she's a child.
Right, yeah, she's a child, yeah.
As bratty as she is, and as much as she doesn't want to be here, she's a child. It's not her fault, but I'm going to tell her, no more. It's like, you have 1 week to show me that you are actually making some kind of improvement. 1 week. And I went out to her dad, and I looked at him, he's like, how's she doing? I was like, to be honest, I'm extremely disappointed.
Yeah.
I'm extremely disappointed. I was like, you spent you spent money on a month worth of lessons, and she has had lesson number 1 4 times.
Yeah.
And he's like, and
telling the dad what's up.
Oh yeah. That was all I said to him, and he just looked at her and he goes, you said you wanted to do this. You said you've been practicing when I'm not home. He's
Good
like,
for him.
are you actually going to do this, or am I wasting my money? He's like, you better fix this because next time she tells me this, we're done. It's like, thank you, Dad, for being that dad.
Yeah. A lot of times they side with the kid.
I know. And I'm like, your little angel isn't so much of a little angel. Like, seriously.
They go, well, and the parents like, well, she's just a, and I'm like, oh, God.
No, it's like she needs to learn some respect.
So here's the question is that, well, two things. One, you said she's just a child, and that's another one that I've been coming at, too. This one guy, they were talking, this is a whole nother free will conversation, but they were talking about how in our society we assume we have to eventually make a marker of 18 as now you are you're an adult, you have the ability to make your own choices. It's not you're a child anymore, now you're responsible. And they said that it doesn't just go, and this is where you get into this insane gray area where it's not like no free will, and then boom, 18. They said it's like an airplane. You're going off, and you're 4 years old. You have this much kind of free will that we can't just blame it on your parents, but you can blame a lot of it, in society, whatever. Now all of a sudden they get to 10, and then 15, and then it's an airplane going up, and so how hard can you go with, is a rhetorical question, but how hard can you go with them, early on? And,
I think it really just depends on the kid, I think, because with her, I think the Come to Jesus meeting that I had with her last week, I was totally prepared to this week, because I expected her to be giving me some sass and stuff, which she did a lot, and I had to struggle to be like, all right, are you done? Can we please get back to work? Like, you are not going to be talking to me like this. Thank you. It's like,
you
I don't have
come at her kind of hard.
Oh yeah. And I was like, direct. And it was always, it was always kind, but I would put my things down. Are you done? Make it very obvious that you're being extremely disrespectful right now, and I'm this close to ending it, and you can leave, And I had told her, I was like, you have 1 week, and I was expecting no progress, today, and I was expecting her to be giving me lip, stuff like that, and I was like, I had to talk with my manager. I was like, this is what might happen today. This is what might happen today. I was like, if it does happen, I'm going to be talking with her dad, and I'm going to tell him I think he needs to take her out. She needs to find something else that she should start doing. Luckily, I think I scared her enough last week.
Maybe Dad said something too.
I'm sure he did, because when he was not happy when I told him I was disappointed with her progress. So, but she actually did her work today, and she wasn't as sassy.
less sassy.
Which that's fine. It's okay to be you, but there's boundaries. You still have to be respectful. And when I say it's enough, you better shut your mouth and do the work.
And I'm struggling too with the when of that question. Is not necessarily, obviously the how do you say it to him, but the when do you, so how many sassy lessons is it going to take to the are you done, that vote, and that's where I'm kind of struggling with, because I can see it coming, I know that, and all of us can, so you want to deal with this now, but sometimes it's probably not appropriate, because you're annoyed, but you're not annoyed enough that a sane person would be, because you're just in the moment. You're like, a sane person would not be as annoyed as I am right now. Calm down, Rob,
Exactly.
But then it sounded like that was the right time.
For sure.
At that
because
moment.
we had it was just the last 2 lessons that I had with her, it was constant fighting. Every single thing I told her to do, she said, I don't want to do it. Oh, I thought you were just going to keep going. I said, no, I'm done now. It's your turn. She's like, well, you're the teacher. Why aren't you teaching? I'm like, you're the student. Why aren't you learning?
That's just...
seriously, little girl? The fuck do you think I'm trying to do here?
You're a teacher. You should be teaching. My nephew one time, he was 6 or something, and he looked at my brother, and he was just like, I don't have to, it's a free country, It's just like,
yeah, it's like little things
we all
like
were in there, we were all like, ooh, young kids saying that,
Yeah. sometimes, and that's kind of like, yeah. I was like, man, if you were my kid, oh my gosh, you would not be behaving like that. First of all,
Yeah.
It
wouldn't
like,
even have gotten to that point.
Oh no! And if it had gotten to that point, it wouldn't have been with a stranger.
Yeah.
You know, that was the one thing. Like I would smart off to my mom. There was no way in hell I would ever disrespect a stranger or a teacher or anything like that, because I thought I was getting in trouble for doing that to her. Oh God, no.
I was always way more scared of teachers than my parents.
Oh yeah.
You know,
I know how
they're not gonna like to hear that. But yeah. Well, cool. I mean, we would probably go all night talking about this crap. I love this stuff. Last quick question for you. Talk to me a little bit about the your thoughts on just the KC music scene in general.
Yeah, you know, the music scene in general, I don't know too much about, because I've been here for 4 years now. Really, I only go out to play my shows or to go to like the Blues Jam on Tuesday or something like that. I'm a ambivert. So so like it's an introvert and an extrovert.
Oh, weird.
So it's like it's having the mixture of the two.
Okay.
Where most of the time I really don't like to deal with people. I don't like to be out in public. I don't like to have that kind of air. I like to be at my home with my dogs, not talking to people, like doing my own thing with my own vibes, not having any kind of other outward energy coming in. But when I do go out, I'm like, let's go out, like, and it's usually out really late, you know, I'm talking to everybody, but once that ends up happening, my battery is completely dead and I have to recharge, which usually takes about a week, you know, of being at home with my dogs. So the IBC was really difficult for me because not only was I just
stay up there for
and it wasn't only just like being around that energy and that many people constantly. It was being around that many people and having almost all of them want to talk to me and to meet me and to say something and to blah blah, and so I'm being pulled in every single direction and I'm just trying to get right there so I can walk out the door, but it takes me literally 40 minutes, not even kidding, literally 40 minutes to walk 5 feet because I'm everywhere. People are yanking on me, pulling me, touching the back of my thigh to get my attention because they're sitting down and they're doing that. Stuff like that. The second to last day I was there, it got to the point where when people would touch me, I would go, and then I would have to be like, hi, how are you, you know? So when we got back to the hotel, my poor bandmates, I felt so bad. I was just so on edge. I was like anxiety ridden, you know, and I was like just kind of bitchy and snapping at everything. And my keyboard player Ryan, he's like, it's gonna be okay. He like went in for a hug. I was like, don't fucking touch me, don't touch me. And he was like, okay, I'm sorry. I was like, I am so over it. I was like, I'm gonna go to bed. I was sleeping on the couch, and so I was like, started walking that way, and he comes around like he was gonna sit on the chair and like chit chat for a little bit, and I just looked at him and I was like, no. He's like, what? I was like, no, get the fuck out. And he was like, okay, I'm really sorry. Like, I just can't do it.
It's not you. It's everyone.
It's not. Yeah, it was everyone. It was everything. It was just, it was late. I was tired. We had been walking. I had carrying my bass, which was really heavy, and I had extra things in it, so it was extra heavy. And I woke up the next morning and I was like, hey, you guys, I'm really sorry about last night. That's not... You know, I was like, you guys know that's not how I normally am. And they're like, no, we know it was a lot. And they're like, I don't understand how you talk to that many people. I was like, honestly, I'm just pretending like I know everybody.
It's a whirlwind of just intensity, I'm sure.
I don't like it.
She said something really interesting about introverts and extroverts. My mom did, and she was like, there's people like my brother, for example, where he can do great in a crowd. You know, I mean, he's youngest child. He can be very funny and really have the whole room rolling. But if you're a person that, if you had a choice, would choose to go home and be by yourself or go out, you're an introvert.
Yeah.
You know, don't be pretending that you're not, because that's the baseline. Really, is if you were to choose, you would choose to go out and like I'm kind of both, but I definitely am very okay with going out in public. I'm a super extrovert.
Oh, yeah.
I did this personality thing. I'm like 99th percentile extrovert. Like so I would always choose to go out. But she said that's what, when you're a half and half person, when you're like, I'm not an introvert. Well, if you had the choice, what would you choose? That means you're an introvert.
Yeah.
If maybe that sounds like,
For sure.
Yeah.
I love going out and playing music, and I love being on the stage. I love being in that kind of setting, but only for a very short period of time. Mm-hmm. And mostly it's just because there's so many people and they get so drunk and then they just want to touch and they get physical. Yeah. And it's not that they're like groping me or anything like that, but they just want to hug me or just stand right here while they talk to me or scream in my ear, and I'm like, hey bud, I can hear you fine from over there. So it's like, but most of the time, when fans come out to our shows, we take a set break and they're like, oh well, we're just really tired, we're gonna head home, I hope you have a good rest of your set. I'm like, it's okay, if I could, I'd be going home too right now.
Sure, well, definitely, we probably, could go all night on this, but we'd probably wrap this up a little bit. But yeah, I definitely know there's a ton of jams in town. If you haven't been to some of them, I was trying to find them when I first got into town too. So that's a good, a cool thing to do. And everybody would be glad to have you, I'm sure, obviously. So that'd be something cool to do. But yeah, well, it's definitely keep up everything that you've been doing. It sounds like you're doing good and figuring it out and running your band and teaching and stuff. That's pretty cool. Yeah,
it's been a really awesome journey so far, and we're getting ready to hit the studio the start of March. So
cool.
Putting another studio album out, and then got lots of good stuff in the works. So.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. Well, there you go. This is Heather Newman. Come check her out here in Kansas City, playing and doing all sorts of awesome stuff. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. We'll be back next time with another guest talking about stuff. So there you go. Have a great day.